Whispers on the summit. With the morning mist upon my face, I start the trail with steady pace. The forest hums a waking song, and birds above all sing along. The path is steep, the air is thin, but pace and power bloom within. Each step I take, the world grows wide, with the clouds like oceans at my side. At last, I stand where eagles soar above the lands I walked before. The sun ignites the mountain top, and time itself begins to stop. The climb was hard, the wine was wide, yet nature greets me like a child. And in this quiet sky and stone, I hear the summit's whispered tone.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, I'm Rahmatika I'm from A class. Now I'm here, I want to give you an explanation about analysis of the poem Whispers on the Summit. For the first is kinds of the poetry. Lyric of the poetry expresses personal experience and deep emotion about mountain climbing. And then descriptive of the poetry describe nature in a detailed and imaginative ways. And then the rhyme of the poetry uses a consistent AABB rhyme scheme in each stanza. And then the second is the use of symbol. For the first symbol is mist, symbolizes the beginning of a journey and a sense of calmness. And then the second one is eagles, represent freedom and the highest achievement. And then number 3 is whisper on the summit. It symbolizes inner reflection that can only be heard in silence after struggle. And then the last of symbol in the poetry is clouds like oceans. Depict the vastness and boundlessness of the world seen from the mountain's peak. And the number 3 is sounds of English and devices of sound. The first is alliteration, and then assonance, rhyme, and euphony. So the first is alliteration, for example, peace and power, sky and stone, and maybe another word in the poetry. It adds rhythmic beauty to the poem. And then the second one is assonance, such as long vowel sounds such as A and O, create a calm and soothing tone. And then number 3 is rhyme. AABB pattern strengthens the rhythm and structure. And then the last sounds of English and device of sound is euphony. The poem uses soft, pleasant sound to reinforce a peaceful atmosphere. And then number 4 is rhythms of the poetry. There are 2 types. The first is old and new. There are meter, syllable stress rhythm, and free rhythm. For the first is meter, primarily uses iambic tetrameter, and then for syllable stress rhythm, use structure and stable. For the free rhythm, not used in this poem. It means that this poetry not use free rhythm because the rhythm of this poetry is AABB pattern. And then number 5 is common and uncommon sense, and then inspiration and effort. For the first is common sense, climbing as a metaphor for life's challenges. And then the second is uncommon sense, portray the summit as a place where one's deepest inner voice can finally be heard. And then the last is inspiration and the effort. This poem shows that poets' conscious effort to build mood, meaning, and depth of reflection. And then number 6 is the play of freedom. For the first is repetition. Repeated structure in stanzas create a sense of balance and harmony. And then the second is accent rhythm, emphasize on the keyword like summit, stone, and breathe to strengthen the meaning. And then the last one is line length, consistent throughout, creating flow and stability when read. And then number 7 is elements of the poetry. There are 4 elements. For the first is similar, the second is metaphor, number 3 is personification, number 4 is imagery. For the first is similar, clouds like ocean, such a similar word that enhances visual depth and connection with the nature. And then the metaphor one is Whispers on the Summit, as the title of the poetry represent a profound inner experience. And then number 3 is personification. Nature greets me like a child. Nature is portrayed as a living, welcoming being. And then the last is imagery. Strong visual images such as a mist, bird, pigs, and clouds create a majestic and serene atmosphere. And then the number 8 or the last one is the emotion of the poetry and the phrase usual word. For the first is, there are 5 emotion. For the first is emotion, self-expression, imagery, phrase usual word, and irony. For the first is about emotion, menyatakan kekaguman, kedamaian, dan kebahagiaan setelah melewati perjuangan. And then the second is self-expression, dirasakan sebagai pengalaman spiritual pribadi. And then for the third is imagery, secara segar dan kuat secara visual. And then number 4 is phrase usual word, such as kata umum yang dipakai secara puitis seperti trail, breed, and stone. And then the last one is irony. Dalam kesunyian puncak justru ditemukan kedalaman makna tersebut. So, there are my explanation about the poetry. Thanks for your attention. Bye-bye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.